away this last week. Gary Peterson's mom passed away last week, and somebody close to our family. And then the other two I'd like to recognize are people that I knew did business with me. We lost a couple of our young ag producers in this county this last week, Mr. Bruce Hudson and Mr. Butch Bowman. And this is the time of year that, as Daniel knows, is getting busy, and there's never a good time, but this is not a good time. So we want to remember those families that have affected in this county. Now we will rise. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once again, welcome to everybody. And it's nice to know that when I called the meeting to order, everybody just got up and ready to go on. So we got everybody trained pretty well, I guess. Roll call, please.
Gross.
Present.
Holgren.
Present.
Mossberger.
Present.
Sykes.
Present.
Overmeyer.
Present. Open meeting law is posted on the south side of our chambers. On the wall outside of our chambers is also online on our website. Proof of publication was in the News Times April 14th. It was also posted on our website. First off, we need to review and approve the minutes of the April 5th Board of Commissioners meeting, and we also want to approve the special meeting minutes that were taken last time. Now, at our special meeting, we did approve those, but those were not in our packet, so that's why I wanted to put them back on again to make sure everybody had them. So I would ask that we approve both the April 5th and the April 12th Commissioner meeting minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes from meetings on April 5th and April 12th.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other conversation? Roll call.
Gross.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Mossberger.
I abstain on the 5th and yes on the 2nd.
And Holgren.
Yes.
And Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay, we need to also adopt today's agenda, if we could, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move that we adopt the agenda for the York County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, April 19th, 2022.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion? Roll call.
Holgren.
Yes.
Mossberger.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. We will start with officials forum this morning. The session is fairly lengthy, and we'll bounce around just a little bit. We do have an executive session that will pertain around the broadband talk, so we'll get through it today. So, officials, anybody want to visit? Harvey.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Harvey.
Just a quick update. We're still putting mastic down on Road 4. Mother Nature hasn't worked real well with us, but we're still going forward. We're still hauling gravel in and going to the roads with it. Still blading the roads with what crews can go there as we do this mastic. Bridge inspection, we've got the last 2 months done. Well, they're inspected, they haven't been entered, but it's going forward. And the Road O Bridge down by Sachs Lake should be being put out for bidding for May 17th is when those are due to be advertised and opened on that day. So that's kind of quick and easy of where we are with the road department at this point in time.
Any conversation for Harv? Looks like you're good.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
Harv.
you.
I'm sure you'll be around with us for a while this morning.
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other officials? Public. At this point in time, the public may speak to something that is not on the agenda. If they would like to for a couple minutes. Name, if you would, please, for the record.
Joanne Jackson, 907 Road 2, Fairmont, York County. First of all, thank you for allowing me to comment this morning. I would also like to thank you for holding the Joint Commissioners Planning and Zoning meeting last week. Many concerns dealing with the industrial solar project were mentioned, and I appreciate that. If you have not had a chance to view the Webster County Iowa Holiday Creek Solar Project on YouTube, I would invite you to do so. a familiar company is developing the project according to their website. It is or will be located on 957 acres. When it is finished, there will be 275,000 solar panels on what was previously farmland. If the K-Junction project goes through, our farm will have activity within a mile of us from all 4 directions. One of our fields is on a minimum maintenance road. We are concerned with both the conditions of the road and environmental erosion. The following is some research that is in a column that was written by Herbert M. Eckerlin, a retired professor in mechanical engineering at North Carolina State University. He has been a proponent of solar energy for 40 years, but says placing solar panels on farmland raises some interesting questions for township residents. He cited Mary Clay, an MAI appraiser that has conducted a multi-state property value research project. She found that solar farms reduce the value of neighboring properties by as much as 15 to 20%. He also noted that solar power is intermittent and has a capacity factor of only about 20%. Therefore, solar farms require 70 to 80% more land than conventional power plants to generate the same number of megawatt hours in a given year. Solar advocates claim that batteries will solve the intermittent problem, but they fail to say who is going to charge the batteries. I was told at the Stone Creek event there will be no batteries. Mr. Eckerlin asks, what's driving this solar farm movement? It's the 30% federal tax credit program. In 2015, the largest investors in the solar farms in North Carolina was Blue Cross Blue Shield, with tax credits worth in excess of $40 million. Blue Cross Blue Shield is not in the solar business, but it is in the tax reduction business. The largest investors in the solar program as a group are financial institutions like banks and insurance companies. Warren Buffett summed it up best when he said, solar farms don't make any sense without tax credits. Solar developers know that the tax credits won't last forever. This explains why they are so anxious to get these solar farm applications approved as soon as possible. This also explains why solar developers are LLCs and lease the land. They want the freedom to be able to walk away when the benefits dry up. Given this additional insight, we must ask ourselves, what is the life of a solar farm? 6 years ago, it was 15 years. Today, it has grown to 30 to 35 years. In truth, solar developers don't really know. What they do know is that solar panel efficiency degrades every year. When the solar developer decides to pull up stakes, what is the nation going to do for electric power? Go back to coal? Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Anybody else from the public wants to speak at this time? Okay, we'll move on. We do not have any, like I say, we'll do an executive session a little later in the meeting. General assistance cases, we don't have any, so we're on to payroll and vendor claims for this morning. Everybody should have had those to them.
See, we have a nice sized medical bill in the county jail again.
Yeah, after the last meeting, Sheriff's Department was able to secure a better rate on that last claim, so then we had redid that claim. And I'm not sure if this one Has this one already qualified for that, or is this?
They were both prorated, so one was actually, we got a little bit better rate on one than the other. And just so you guys are aware, one was based on a heart issue, one was based on another medical issue, another private medical issue. So if you want more details, I can fill you guys in at a later point. But yeah, so
Okay.
there were two separate claims, and we did call down and get the Medicaid rates.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks.
The outside detention is about 12,000, it looks like.
Mhm. Yep.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is the price that's quoted here in our sheet the reduced price, or is this the price before the reduction?
That is the reduced price. The bill was $26,000, and one of them was, I don't want to quote it right off the top of my head, but I think it was, so that one came down to around 14,000, I believe. And then the other bill was 13,000, and we actually got a little bit better than Medicaid rates on that one, and that one went down to about 6,000. So making phone calls makes a huge difference.
Thank you.
Any other questions this morning on the vendor claims?
Mr. Chairman, I would move, we don't have any additional claims, do we? I
No
move
more.
that we approve the payroll and vendor claims as presented.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Daniel. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Holgren.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Bosworth.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, there is no funding transfers this morning. Meet with Bob Denton. Is Bob or Adam here yet this morning? And Rochelle is not here yet. So we're gonna, and I wanna jump past the feasibility study. So the next one up is this is discuss and act on appointing Willard Peterson as an alternate to the Board of Adjustments. This is one by statute that we need to have an alternate on that board. Mr. Peterson did offer his services after the last meeting. So I visited with Daniel just a little bit, and we thought we'd bring this name forward on that. So,
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Bill.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bosworth.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Lord, thank you for offering to help.
When do I start adjusting?
Well, you'll be contacted. Okay, next one is on the planning and zoning. Mr. Peterson, Max Peterson that is, resigned from that board. And I believe his term was to go through the end of 2023. As all the members on that board are on the same time frame. I did contact Mr. Carl Heine about filling that gap till the end of 2023. He has agreed to do so. So I brought that name forward also to fulfill that list as they have some jobs to get going on.
Motion to approve the appointment.
Thank you, Jack.
Second.
Bill or Daniel, whichever one you want.
Okay, I do Daniel. I heard him first.
Okay. Any other discussion on that one? Roll call, please.
Sykes.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Bosworth.
Yes.
And Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, next up, then we'll go to discuss and act on 2022 road department surplus list. I believe you guys got that
I
list
think I'd give you
to you.
wanted you a sheet on that.
And I think Kelly had one also in
Looks like
there.
this.
Yep. I put it somewhere.
About 6 items on there, plus the blade
Thank you.
extensions.
Go ahead, Harv. Any,
On that list, that New Holland tractor and mower that's on there, the tractor does not run, it's pumping oil out something fierce. We got that new John Deere tractor and mower that will replace this one. So there's really no sense in putting a bunch of money into this, so we just as well get rid of it. The other one is the Alice tractor. That one has been a money pit since I have been around and very unreliable. It's serial number 1, which is awesome, but it should be in a museum somewhere instead of trying to be used. We just can't, when you send it out, you don't know if it's gonna come back or if it's gonna be towed back or what. The miscellaneous parts for the New Holland, for the Alice Chalmers and the mower are stuff that was for those tractors. It's not going to do us any good anywhere else, so we thought we would just put them in with that, sell it all as one big bunch and be done with it. 206 is an old sheriff's pickup that we've had for years. We had to put a master switch on it, and if you do not shut that thing off, it will be dead. If not in the morning, over the weekend for sure. Nobody wants to run it, so instead of taking up space, we just will get rid of that one also. 207, the International Semi Tractor. When it warms up, it reminds you of an old coffee pot. You take the radiator cap off and it's just percolating away in there really well. So once again, there's more money going out for something that I don't think we need. Blade extensions. I believe there's 10 of them if I recall. I don't have my list in front of me. Those are for old blades that we do not have. They will not fit on our new blades. So instead of piling them back there, we just as well get rid of these. I did talk to Ross Roney about putting them out with another auction. He would get 10% and he can do it that way. He would take pictures of, we could take them out there to the corner, the ones that would run. And we can do it either way that way. So that's kind of where we are with that stuff.
So Harvey, you just need us to deem this surplus and the right to
And how do you want to get rid of it?
liquidate it? And you said you did talk to Ross about
I
doing
did.
it. Like, is that like an auction time auction?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it, you were saying to mix it, is it just our stuff or does it mix in?
I think it sounded like he would put it on with something else.
Okay,
And of course, those are online so people can
right,
look at them. He can come out, take pictures of, write a description of what they are, what their condition is, so on and so forth.
okay.
And that would be one option. The other option is to go out and see what we could find to get rid of, whether you call salvage places or whichever. I don't know which is the best route. I would think maybe the auction might be the better one, because I think it would be exposed to more people is what my thought was.
Right, right.
And that's through Mr. Roney, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Anything that he can't sell, is it worth putting on the Big Iron website at all, or is that?
Well, and when you put it on to what he deals with, it's gonna basically be the same thing as
Is
Big
it?
Iron.
Okay.
Only I think he's with Auction Time, isn't he?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
So
what the
it would
trailer
be
says.
internet, it would be across that way.
gotcha, all right.
And as is, where is, and they would have to come haul it away. So,
I would guess that if it's something that doesn't sell, then it's salvage time, you
Right.
know, whatever we can get at a salvage dealer.
If it doesn't sell, we can load it up and haul it to CMI or
Right.
Hoppers or whoever to get rid of
Right.
it.
Any other questions?
I was just gonna, you mentioned the, New Holland tractor, is it, not necessarily something that we wanna put money into, but is there anything we could do that would make it worth more on a sale, or not necessarily? Like, is there a little bit of maintenance that we could put into it,
I think
or not?
it's gonna be more than maintenance,
Okay, yep,
is what I think. And that's why it's parked back behind.
sure, yep. Very good.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Bill.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and accept the 2022 road department surplus list and to have Mr. Roney dispose of it at his discretion in combination with another sale. And anything that does not sell, that it be salvaged.
Thank you, Bill.
Second.
Thank you, Kurt. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bromsberg.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Omenauer.
Yes. Okay, and that one brought up the fact that a couple weeks ago, Gary Peterson had contacted me about, our county surplus, which has got a catch-all downstairs. That is where we're supposed to be going for tornado drills and what have you, and so that area got pretty big. So we had Cal, he came up with a list, and I believe you got that too. That was attached to everybody's also, right? So this is stuff that, as we talked last time, what do we do with it? I think that we talked about having, like Blue Valley or somebody just come in and take a look at it. But this would need to be deemed surplus also, so we could liquidate it. Obviously, it just continues to grow down there. And he's actually has stuff that he has from this year that he has in a different room, waiting to get to this area here.
You said Blue Valley.
Well, Kurt, I believe you had brought up that the last time, hadn't we? About doing that, rather than taking the time to run the auction, I think you said that maybe $50 is what has been the last few times, and if they could have some good out of it.
Right. Nonprofits come in if they wanna come in, if there's anything they can use out of it, or honestly, if you just wanna say, get rid of it, I mean, it's not worth anyone's time to sit down there and, for an auction like that, so.
Well, when you look at the monitors, computer monitors, I mean, if obviously they're put down there, that's throwaway stuff anyway. Maybe a chair or cabinets would be okay, and I believe there was a couple excess cabinets from Extension that they've redid a room up there, that there was a couple filing cabinets, so stuff like that, is
If there's
worthy.
any computers down there, we have had Josh in the past take the hard drives out.
I think that's wise, yeah. Disassemble them and then
I
probably
don't know what's there, but.
destroy. So, what's your wishes?
Chairman, I would move that we accept the list of county surplus and that we make the offer to Blue Valley to come in and take what they have, would be useful to them.
Thank you, Daniel.
And let the rest be destroyed.
And the rest be disposed of.
Salvaged.
Second.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Bromsberg.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Omenauer.
Yes. Okay, Cal, I'll contact Cal so he can come up, and we'll do that one after the gravel bids. Discuss an act on York County owner-occupied rehabilitation project. You should have that emailed to you also. That is a siding, was it a siding?
Yep, siding and gutters.
Siding and gutters.
Oh, no. Roof and gutters, sorry.
Okay, sorry, I added to it.
And this is the housing committee already okayed that. We had those 3 people on the housing, they have to okay it. And then after they okay it, then the commissioners okay it. And then it'll come back when we get the state money, then we'll okay to pay for it.
And this one is just approving number
Just-
13.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve on the recommendation of the Housing Committee owner occupied rehabilitation project number 13.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Bromsberg.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Omenauer.
Yes. Okay, I did text Cal, hopefully he's on his way. We have a maintenance agreement that is currently with Rasmussen. And in that maintenance agreement, they would come out a few times a year to check over our equipment, and I believe the equipment is listed. Currently, we are paying around $3,000, just over $3,000 a year. That, in both these contracts, you can see has went up dramatically. Rasmussen's was right in that 9,000. MMC Contractors was 10, but they're coming out one more time. Rasmussen's was 3, MMC was a 4 times. So that, they have been somebody that did come in and they did a kind of an audit on our system, and these are also the ones that we bought, this company is who we bought the boiler from, that is coming also. So I know that Cal and I had talked at the end of last week and a little bit at the beginning of this week. I believe he likes the MMC for the 4 times. It is just, it's about $1,000 more, but it is 4 times versus 3. And it obviously, when we first seen it, we thought that it was a typo, but because of what we've been paying, but it is not, that they're both right in that same ballpark. As we've seen, everything is going up and going up dramatically, so.
Mr. Chairman, I think in visiting with Cal a little later when he gets here, I think MMC has more personnel available to us than what Rasmussen has had in the past. I think what Rasmussen has come up here and done is a Band-Aid job, and then never really got it completed, where I think MMC will have the personnel to take care of the problem on site.
Yeah, and they work hand in hand with another company called, I believe it was Engineer Controls, and they're actually the ones that show up to do the maintenance, so, go ahead, Kurt.
Now, it's a $905 difference, like I said, almost $1,000, so it's not that,
Right.
not that far off. But it is pretty far off from what we're used to. You said
Absolutely.
It was, we were figuring around.
Just over 3,000 is what,
So budget-wise,
it will be obviously in the next.
in the next budget year?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, this is planning for the next budget year.
gotcha, okay, good.
Now, our contract did expire at the end of March, so we aren't under contract with anybody right now. But this will be coming up, for this next budget year. Yes, he'll have to budget way more. What we did in 3 years, we'll do in a year now.
Are they both,
Using Rasmussen at this time?
He has been using both.
Okay.
He has been using both. We really haven't had, thankfully, the boilers have been running, but not to the extent that they were, so.
I just know he did indicate that he had to monitor, the temperatures pretty closely.
Yep.
And change them frequently, but it's working.
And it is, the system is just, it's, one man could stay busy running it all the time, and we're gonna have to do some updating more so to the system over the coming years. We're just gonna have to, because he needs to be doing other stuff other than babysitting it.
the Rasmussen contract, it looks like a 2-year. Am I missing on the MMC a date, a time frame on the agreement?
I believe it automatically reviewed,
Okay.
but let's try to find that for sure.
On the last page is his price for materials and labor per year.
Now, on the front page, it says, shall remain in effect for 1 year and shall be reviewed annually unless this agreement is otherwise terminated or changed.
Okay.
So it would be just for a 1-year agreement. Where the Rasmussen is on page, what was it, 2, 3, Cal? Cal. On the Rasmussen versus the MMC, Rasmussen is holding their bid for 2 years, but MMC is just for a 1 year, and then just reviewed, right? At that point in time. Okay. Any other questions for Cal while he's here?
Your recommendation would be to go MMC?
I would at this point, because with the cotton in York, I end up washing the condensers in between my maintenance contract schedules, so if they come one more time a year, they would do that.
I see, sure.
And the fact that we're buying the boiler from them.
Yep.
It would be nice for them to have the contract.
Where are they out of? Where are they headquartered out of?
Lincoln.
Lincoln?
Any other questions? Now that we got him here, he's ready to go, but
Mr.
is it?
Chairman, I would move that we approve the recommendation of our Cal and go with the MMC bid.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second.
Thank you, Bill.
Maintenance guy.
There you go. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Volgren,
Yes.
Augsburger.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
And Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, it is a couple minutes. Thanks, Cal. Do we have a contract there to sign, right, Cal? We have to sign it and get it back to them. Okay. Discuss an act on opening gravel bids. At this point in time, it is 9 o'clock. There
I think you have
was,
a sheet to, tell them.
put this underneath here. When was this publicized?
When was it publicized? I have it, just hold on.
In the News Times, I'm sure.
Yes. It was put in there
I have
2
it.
times, perhaps 3.
I think it was 3 times.
I can't tell you the dates right off the top of my head.
According to your notice, you had please publish April 1, 8, 15.
That sounds correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so it was published first, 8th and 15th in the News Times. Looks like we've got a stack of them there. We did receive, it looks like a letter, an email, a transmission from Overland Sand and Gravel. With the high demand and instability in the fuel market, we decided not to do gravel bids this year. We will be producing gravel throughout the pumping season, but it will be on a first-come, first-served basis. If you want to get gravel from us, be sure to call beforehand to ensure we have some in our stockpile. Current price is $14.50 a ton. That was a transmission received from them.
And on the back page,
There's a
there
surcharge.
is a surcharge if fuel goes over 349, I believe it is, somewhere in there.
Diesel fuel surcharge will be indexed monthly using a baseline of $3.50 a gallon the first day of each month. So this is if they deliver, then no.
Yes, no, if the fuel prices go over that, that's what they are going to add on to the 1450,
Gotcha. Even picked up
even.
at their plant. Okay. Okay.
That's just their cost at the site.
Yes, the pumping and
Right.
loading and so on. and so
They will
forth,
know,
yes.
I mean, as we call and we buy gravel from them, we'll know the price the day we pick it up then.
Yes.
Okay.
Johnson & Johnson out of Columbus.
Okay, the first one is from Johnson & Johnson out of Columbus, Nebraska. And they have bid FOB Pit 3A gravel at $18.75 a ton. FOB Pit Mud Rock, $18.50 a ton. FOB Armor Coat at the pit, Armor Coat aggregate, $12.25 a ton. And sand at $3 a ton. Road gravel is $12.75 a ton when available. Okay, 9.5 miles north of Shelby.
What was the first number you,
$8.75 a ton for 3A gravel.
875?
Mm-hmm. State of Nebraska gravel specification. This is, I don't know if I've seen that in there before, but that's Harv, do you know what that is about? Why they put state of Nebraska?
Because that's what they produce, the gravel at that specification.
At a level, okay.
Yes.
That's 11.50 a ton FOB pit. Okay, that's the first one. We folded it up nice. Johnson Trucking Sand and Gravel, Butler County. And they have bid the FOB pit sand at $4 a yard. FOB pit road gravel, $12.75 a ton when available. And the pit location is Highway 81 south side, Platte River, east side of Highway 81. That's the only ones they bid.
This is not.
Mhm.
Beatrice Sand and Gravel. That's a fuel surcharge.
Maybe this was your mail.
I was afraid to open it.
That was all just surcharges.
Is that just your mail?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is no bid.
We didn't know for sure what it was, so we thought it was a gravel bid.
That's all right. Maybe we'll get to their bid, I'll be honest. Where's where, are they down south?
Yes, down around Alexander. down
That's
in
where
that
they're at,
neighborhood, yes.
okay. Hooker Brothers, Grand Island. They have bid FOB pit sand at $3. They're not indicating if it's a yard or ton. Up top, I guess it does say ton. FOB pit, $11 for gravel, and I assume that's ton also. And this is in Grand Island, South Locust Street. Vontz, V-O-N-T-Z, and Hastings.
That's their office. The pit is located up here by Central City.
Okay. They bid one item, and that's FOB pit gravel at $15. Once again, I assume that is a ton, seems our bid sheet says ton. 2 miles south of Central. Island Land Handlers. They have bid Armor Coat, FOB at pit, $18 a ton. Sand, FOB at pit, $4 a ton. Road gravel, FOB at pit, $11 a ton. Okay, Beatrice Sand and Gravel. Okay, they bid several items. Starting off with Township Brown, $24.85 a ton. Baker, $24.15 a ton. Leroy, $24.15 a ton. Beaver, $24.85 a ton. Henderson, $24.15 a ton. Hayes, $22.80 a ton. McFadden, $22.80 a ton. West Blue, $24.15 a ton. On 3A gravel, there is no bid. Mud Rock is $11.50 a ton, FOB at pit. Armor Coat is $15.30, FOB at pit. Fill Sand is $3.25 at FOB at pit, and then they got a 47B sand at $8.80 at pit. And then we have 2A road gravel at Alex Pit, $14.65 a ton. So do they have more than one pit, or is everything at that they're actually saying that at Alexandria Pit?
I think that's the Alexandria pit, and they bid it for hauling it in. That's what the 24 something was, is if we hire them to haul it.
Okay. Now, I assume that the mail that we had there, that was some surcharges, I believe, that will go into effect, that they sent that separate, but that will go into effect also with this. There was 3 pages of different surcharges. One last one.
One last one.
Central Sand and Gravel Company. Okay, they bid one item, and that's road gravel, FOB at pit, $15 a ton. And this is, there is a Columbus pit and a Bellwood pit and a Grand Island, so there's 3 separate pits.
They're not central, they're all over.
And I don't see anything else as far as any fuel surcharges, so.
That was, Mr. Chairman, gonna be my question. The only ones that we know that have addressed any fuel surcharge with the board has been Overland and this.
Yeah.
Beatrice, yes. That they stated, yes.
Okay.
And Hereford Rock also has a surcharge on their fuel also.
Out of Weeping Water. or
Out of
whatever.
Weeping Water, yes.
Okay, so there we are. I would assume that we want to do the same as we usually do.
Absolutely.
I think, now Overland said they weren't submitting bids, yet they said we could still buy from
Right.
them.
$14.50 plus,
$14.50 right now.
right now, plus surcharge of the fuel that's on the backside of that sheet that Bill gave you.
Or whatever price it may be,
So why
come
would-
September or August or whatever.
If they're gonna submit a price, why not just submit a bid? You and I had this conversation
I have
here
no
briefly.
I have no
Can we even
idea.
do business with them? Because all these other people submitted bids except for Overland. And so if we do business with Overland, can they come in and say, wait a minute, they didn't submit bids, what are you buying their gravel for? You gotta buy from us.
And I have had that conversation with people in the past and said, you had no gravel for us. Neither did anybody else that bid. And Mr. Y has gravel. I'm not gonna just leave the truck sit and not bring rock, so I went to him. So if you don't produce and you don't have gravel for us, I'm gonna go find somewhere there's gravel to be had.
And I don't disagree with you there. I'm just trying to figure out how to do this motion to include them.
Well, I would say that we do to give the people that gave the bids first priority.
Oh, absolutely.
And if to the extent that the people that gave the bids have got no gravel, then we need to look at our second options, which is because we never bid Kerford, and we buy a lot of rock from Kerford. So I would think that
Okay.
giving him the right to do that, him being Harvey, to find our best deal, to keep him going.
Well, and this last winter, we was going out at Johnson Trucking, and they did not put a bid in last year either, but they were the only ones that had gravel available for us. And they said, we will charge you the same thing as Johnson and Johnson that we had a bid from, because, well, they're brothers out there. And they was charging us the same thing as he was, but it was available. So instead of leaving trucks, I kept them going.
That's just my internal struggle today.
Okay, no big deal. Well, I think that obviously having a price locked in for the year and utilizing these companies first is
Right.
somehow that motion.
I bring it up because there was one company that bid it price by yard instead of ton, or ton by yard, and they were the only ones that did, and someone raised an issue with that too. Remember that, Harv?
Yep.
Not too much of a stink, but a little bit of a stink, so. Just try to make things not as easy as possible, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Okay, let you have those. So,
I would move to accept all the bids.
Second.
thank you, guys. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bowman.
Yes.
Bonster.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes. Carrie, do you know, is Bob, are they coming yet today, or?
Bob is here, he's reading her out.
Okay, all right. So we'll hold off on that one yet too. Michelle's not here. Go down. Let's go ahead and tackle the county employee wages while everybody is here then.
Again, I handed you all those sheets. Basically the same thing that you got about 6 weeks ago.
Bids, please. Thank you.
Just wanted to report that we are down right now, 4 employees. We had one spoken for, offered 18.
Yes.
$18 an hour, and moved down the street about a mile and accepted a job for 27 bucks. So we've got to do something, gentlemen. And that proposal that was there 6 weeks ago showed the 3 steps of 3 years of budget. And of course, this would reduce the first step at this point because we only have 2 months left in the budget year, which would, and that there is plenty of money in the budget. And each year, it's for $1.50 an hour per employee. I think if we're gonna be competitive and keep people, we're gonna have to do something to make this work. I mean, we got 1,102 miles of roads in York County, and we've got to keep them maintained. We have the problem we talked about with the CDL. In visiting with Ashley and Harvey this morning, there is another route, and that can be with online, which is a lot cheaper than going to a community college and keeping somebody there for 6 weeks. We can do it a lot cheaper, that way. But I think we've really got to get these salaries up in order to keep people, or to get people. So I guess I would really like to go ahead and just leave this the way it is, the way it was presented 6 weeks ago. I don't think it's out of line. And I'd like to open it up for discussion, That last page, and that's just something that I kind of put together, and even at $20 an hour, that's still only $41,600 for a 2,080 hour work year. I don't think there's hardly anybody in here that's gonna be able to live on that kind of a salary at today's rates that are needed. We've gotta do something to make it a little more attractive.
I will start off by saying I asked Harvey a couple months ago to supply me some information as trying to work and think through what we can do, you know, for all of our employees, not just the roads department. And that's been my stumbling block with this is that as it's being presented, it's not being presented as all of our employees. It's being presented as one, and I can't get on board with anything that isn't for all of them.
I guess,
And there's a couple of our budgets that are in trouble, and they're not gonna be able to do that. And, you know, I know that personnel-wise, in the roads department budget is fine. Other parts of the roads department are chewing up, which we know getting gravel, and we know fuel costs are gonna go up and everything else like that too. What you mentioned 4 down, what did we start the year at down employee-wise? I know it's been a constant thing is where I'm
We
going
were
with
up
this.
to only 1 down. We lost 1 to Seward County. 1 employee did not pan out, he went away. Another one took another job elsewhere, so there you go. Now
Right.
we're back down 4. And Randy is talking of retirement at the end of June, that makes 5.
And, you know, I've taken the opportunity to visit with a few employers throughout, mostly York, a couple of them outside of York. Our struggles are no different than anybody else's.
Okay.
Absolutely no different than anybody else's. Everybody is struggling to find people to show up and, you know, and trying to pay them the most they can and still be in business. So I just, like I say, my big deal is, I think we need to treat everybody across the board the same.
I differ with you to a certain extent. I'm not saying we shouldn't treat everybody equally, but you gotta remember that the elected officials can set the salary for their employees wherever they want, as long as it's kept within the budget.
Right.
We've got about 4 or 5 departments that we regulate the department head, and we also, like the roads, we dictate what all the salaries are every budget year. So there's a big difference there. And I guess, we just bought some new equipment. So do we wanna take an $18 an hour person and put in a $300,000 maintainer and expect them to do good work with it? You know, I guess I have a problem without giving these people more money and that we can train them to do a better job.
So what's changed in 6 months?
Cost of living,
Cost of living. we
Is
gotta-
went up,
yeah.
but there was no, but it hasn't went up that
8.9% right
over
now.
an annual year, but,
Right.
you know, we just approved raises 6 months ago.
Right,
And we approved basically what was put in front of us.
right.
You know, I mean, so if cost of living still goes up, are we gonna give raises every 6 months?
No, I'm not saying that. I think we need to get it back.
I agree, that's
with
why I
the
had
budget
Harvey
here.
look
We
at it.
gotta have people, you know, we gotta get some people hired.
Do you think the $1.50 an hour is going to change that?
I think it will. You go from 18 and a half to 19, 20, 20 and a half, you're gonna have some difference.
Wouldn't have
You
saved the
gotta be
last one.
competitive.
It wouldn't have saved the last one.
No, because they weren't the ones that got.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
right.
News Times
Big
had
dollar.
in there an article from a different county paying their starting employees between 16 and 18, depending on their
Experience.
experience and education. You got people out there that have been out there many years, and they're at 18 or 20. they should be up around 24, 25. Minimum.
And I think we've gotta do something with the salary, even though we've got the ARPA funds also, Mr. Chairman, that, you know, we've got 1.3 million this year, we're gonna get another 1.3 million next year. I don't know if we've talked about this time and time again,
brought it
about
up.
giving bonuses or some kind of an incentive to the essential workers that worked during that pandemic period. So, and we have not done anything there at that point. I don't care, I'd really like to see something, but that's totally different than per hour employees. And if we're gonna get people to work, you know, roads department is very important in this county.
Well,
I agree.
I
mean,
did talk
but
to
they're all
Kelly
important.
about what he just brought up about the ARPA funds. And she contacted another county, and I brought it up about essential employees. And she actually had a good point. There were a lot of employees in the county that came every day. Would you consider them essential? They showed up. I think Seward paid all of their employees this quote essential employee. And that's, there again, and we can say this over and over and over, that's not local tax money that you're paying that out, that is from the federal government. And yes, the federal government has no money at all except for what they get from the taxpayers. But it's spread out over a whole lot bigger area than New York County.
I'd also like to add one more thing, you know, looking at this $1.50, we was talking like, what, 139,000, something like that, for a year?
I think it's 114 or
114.
115,000.
Okay, we've got a valuation of $3.3 billion at this point. One penny would generate enough for those $1.50 raises for all 3 years. Because one penny would raise $330,000, correct? We're sitting at about 21 cents with the bond. We don't,
I
and
think we're higher than that, but go ahead.
okay, but I know what our limit is. You know, it's much higher than that, but I don't see any problem in over a 3-year period adding a penny to the levy, because I assume that valuations will also increase. Kurt will know better than anybody. He's gonna be the assessor.
We'll see. No, sounds like the market for ag is going well yet. Corn prices are still going up, so who knows what valuations are gonna be. Same time, they could go back down again too. With all this inflation and interest rates going up, so hate to get too far out ahead of it and then,
I think we look at the elected officials' salaries, and we set them, you know, for a 3-year period, going up $2,500 a year,
Mhm.
correct? But we still expect somebody to hop into a maintainer and maintain our roads for $20,000 less a year? I'm not saying, I mean, Kelly and all the people, the assessor, they're very important, but we've got to do something with our employees, with our county employees. 32 employees, that's the biggest employer in York County as far as any department.
Harv, how much of of the road budget is personnel versus other things? You get to government, most of your budget is gonna be personnel related, so I wasn't sure.
It is crowding half, if
Okay.
I recall correctly. I think it is like at 1.9 last budget year, if memory is serving me correctly. And the budget was 4.8, I believe.
Okay.
I think Randy has the information.
Yeah, you're doing
there.
pretty good so far. Yep.
And I think the $1.50 would raise that 1.9 up to a little over 2 is what it would do. Once again, running off of memory.
I think it's an incentive to hire people, plus it's also a good incentive to keep what we have. Because we're losing too many people.
Anybody else?
I know we've talked about the struggle with retaining employees in the road department. Are we having this struggle throughout county government? In other offices, do we know?
Well, we've lost, if we want to talk about the main floor, yeah, we've lost employees in each one of the main offices on the main floor. Corrections is lost. Call center, unfortunately, just had somebody cancel out of the training program as of yesterday. So those are all, yeah.
Now, are we having issues filling those vacancies then?
I think they're all down. I know Leela is conversation I had with her yesterday, she would like to get to full staff. She is not full staffed. Corrections, did we get up to full staff yet on corrections? We are on corrections. I know that the office that you've applied to go for is down one. Clerk's office, I believe, is okay as far as staffing. So, it's just, like I say, it's just not us, it's everybody. That employee vanished, you know, and I know we see the signs, you know, on the Highway 34 as I went to Grand Island, I see that sign. You know, I guess I view us different. You know, we have to deal with this wonderful budget that we lock ourselves into for a year. And I know that we talk about the remaining 2 months, but then there's also 3 months till we pass a new budget that we're going off of the remaining funds that we had this year. And those all add up as part of the project.
Well, we've already lost 6 weeks on towards the 3 months.
Well, yeah,
You know,
with the
for first
spreadsheet.
Pay period in October.
Yeah.
And another thing, you know, we was talking about the CDL. That first number was like $4,600 for tuition to go to a community college and stay there for 6 weeks, except on the weekends. Where now, for basically around $1,000, one can do that online. And of course, we still have to pay that individual, but we're saving over $3,000 right there if we can do it online, you know? So that makes some difference there.
I guess I kind of, I struggle with, getting more of my internal struggles this morning. I struggle with, I do think there's a need at the road department because of the number of vacancies there. I don't know that there's a need in the rest of the courthouse because it seems like those vacancies get filled. However, we are approaching the end of a fiscal year, so do we approve this and then when we have our usual annual wage adjustment, does it get adjusted again right away? And then I also kind of have an issue, are we making it hard in the road department to fill vacancies when we have requirements like you have to have a CDL, for example? Is that something that we could waive to maybe bring in more people to work? Is there something in our benefit package that we could change that would maybe not just focus on the road department, but then that would be an avenue to affect everyone in, all the employees in York County? I just don't think I'm ready to act on anything yet today. I think we need to look at a few more of those things yet before we make a determination.
So you're fine with going ahead and not getting any more employees, basically is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that.
No, you aren't.
Well, I think, we've asked for years, is it necessary to have, does someone operating a motor grader, do they need to have a CDL? And if someone applies to operate a motor grader that doesn't have their CDL, we say, sorry, we can't hire you. Are we creating our own problems?
Go ahead, Jack.
Does our insurance require them?
It's a good question.
This is in the same line. If you walk into Walmart out here, there's a sign right as you walk through the door that's hiring employees, $16 an hour. They don't have to have a CDL, they don't have to have, let's face it, their qualifications is crazy or blind, it don't matter, they hire them, and they get the same benefits that our people get. And yes, that's a big corporation, and they have a lot of money backing them, and we're gonna be asking taxpayers to pay for the raises that they get. But if you don't treat, and we keep saying that, employees are our biggest benefit, our biggest thing that we need. Well, if you can't keep them, what's the sense in hiring them?
As far as these numbers go, there's plenty in the roads budget to take these 2 months on. And being we've lost out on 6 weeks already, there'd be enough there to go on to the first pay period in October under a new budget, if we wanted to increase it.
Mr. Chairman.
Daniel?
One thing, you mentioned that a penny on the valuations, was that taking into account all the retirement, the FICA and all of that, or is that just the hourly wage?
Probably right now, the way Harvey explained it, 114, that would probably not take care of all the benefits.
Yes, it does.
It does. Okay, you have the benefits in there, okay, sorry.
That deal that I gave you
Yeah.
6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
that was the benefits, the
Okay.
raises, the whole ball of wax.
Okay.
FICA, retirement.
That's right. Yeah. It's on your sheet.
Yep. Yeah, it just, I know that after this was on the, agenda last time, there was some phone calls that kinda wondered what we were doing and why we were talking about wages and, so, we've talked about being tied to a budget and we've always done that, so it's a little bit, it's just hard to know if it's right to take this big of a leap in the middle of a budget year. I'm sympathetic that we do need to do something to increase that. I'm just trying to decide if it's when we take that leap.
We've had elected officials give their employees salaries within the budget year. I mean, at the start and a raise, 6, 8, 9 months down the road. So what's the difference?
Sure.
Go ahead.
On Harlan or Bill or whoever put this information together, one, thank you for doing that. Two, on the holiday overtime pay line, that number remains the same each year. Would that not need to be adjusted for each?
Yes, it probably should be adjusted. I did not do it, I just left it straight across
Okay.
on that.
All right, so holiday, be able to determine overtime is always, depends on how much snow you got or whatever. Okay. And then the health accident line, that number should.
That I have no idea what we're going to do, because who knows what health insurance is going to do.
Right.
So I left it steady just to show the difference of what the wages, the benefits, FICA would do.
Okay. Very good.
Harvey, do you feel comfortable answering the question, what is our starting wage in the roads department?
I usually start them at $17.50. If they have no experience, no CDL, I'll give them a 50-cent raise. As soon as they get their CDL, I'll give them another 50-cent raise, and they come off the introductory period. So in the past, in 90 days, they could be up to $18.50. With the new regulations that we were just talking about for the CDL, that is gonna throw a whole ball of wax in there that we don't know. Because if this online deal does not pan out, because I don't know if it's all gonna pan out or not. If it all pans out and we have to go through the community college, now you're looking down the road 5 weeks once they get in. I was told that Milford was already out until October, before you could ever get anybody in to start taking the thing. And as for requiring the CDL, NERMA keeps telling us if it's over 26,000 pounds, you need a CDL to operate it. Once you get the grader out on the road, you put the blade down, you don't need a CDL. So now, where do you go with it? NERMA says you need it, state statute says you don't. So if we don't hire and get CDL drivers, where are we when we're driving down the road with the grader?
So while the blade's up, you need your CDL, while your blade's down, you don't.
That is
According
the
to
way
NERMA.
they understand.
Okay.
I think that's what NERMA's would like to see. I mean, there's no state statute backing that, it's just what they'd like to see, right? Anybody else this morning? There are more chairs. I know you guys are standing back there, but there's more chairs over here if you'd like. I'm sure somebody would hustle one over to you.
Mr. Chairman,
Bill?
I would just go ahead and make a motion that we adopt this salary increase as presented on the sheet before you, with the $1.50 now for the remaining 2 months, another $1.50 for the next budget year, and the next budget year, 23-24, the same amount.
A second motion.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jack. Any more discussion regarding this?
Go ahead, Bill.
I think you realize the need. You just have to, we're down 4 employees. They're going elsewhere. We're losing people to other places because we aren't paying enough. So really think about it before you cast your vote.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Mr. Chairman, Bill, I wonder if you'd be open to amending your motion. I don't see that, I don't see a commitment for all 3 of those steps passing. I don't see that gets the approval. It's about, that is spread over 3 years, but I just wonder if you think about that.
So what's your recommendation?
Trying to decide.
I guess, are you looking at going the last 2 months of the budget year with $1.50? Is that? And then negotiate the next 2 budget year, or the next budget, and then the next budget?
Right.
Going 3 years out really ties the hands of future boards that most likely you and I aren't gonna be on.
That's right. I don't know, I guess, I'd really like to have somebody's opinion from the roads or from Harvey's, just on that matter. If that would be something that would be permissible, if we went $1.50 for now, for the next 2 months.
Well, the $1.50 would be more for the,
Would go on.
that would be their wage. Yes, it would finish out this budget
Right.
year, but it's not like it would change July 1. Their wage would be at that
Whatever that
$1.50.
raise is,
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah.
$1.50.
yeah.
I guess I would ask, is that something that's negotiable?
That would be a lot better than nothing. So if we can give $1.50 to finish up through October and then look at the next budget year and see where we go with that.
It'd be June,
Right.
yeah, correct. I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
on the next budget year,
Right.
we would look at where we could go with it at that point in time.
Yes, Mr. Groves, I would amend the motion to go $1.50 the last 2 months of this budget year, and then negotiate the next budget. That's a motion.
They make it confusing, aren't they?
Do I have to amend the second?
Well, you would second the amendment, and then we would have to vote on the amendment, and then vote on the original motion.
The amended motion.
Yes.
Did you second it? Did you second it then?
Yeah.
Is this for all employees at the roads department, or is it just the people that drive the motor graders?
No, this is,
Everybody except me.
Okay.
you did second
Yes.
the amendment, okay. Any other discussion? I guess the only thing that I'll add is, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stick with the point I made. I know that you're for the roads department. I know Harvey's for the roads department. I know the roads department is for the roads department. Unless we talk about all the county employees, I'm just not on board. That's where I'm gonna be on this here, so.
I don't think you're looking at it properly. Mr.
I can look
Chairman.
at it however I wanna look at it,
That's
just
right.
like you can too, Bill.
Yeah.
And we're obviously on opposite sides of the fence here. And then when I get these calls that are coming, they will get your number.
How many, hey, fine, you know, I've been
So
here
that's-
12 years and I don't think I've had calls. I can count them on two hands.
That's great. I'm glad.
People are very polite.
I'm talking about the people that work here,
Oh.
not taxpayers.
Let them call.
That shows
Fine.
right there that,
I'm fine with it.
okay.
So are we.
Any
doing
other discussion? We're voting on the amendment
The
first.
amended one, okay.
If there is none, we'll take a roll call on the amended motion, which states we are just doing step one, which would be the $1.50.
Baumsberger,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Groves,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
No. Now, we would need to vote on what would be the original motion. And that would have been as presented for all three.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Baumsberger,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Groves,
No.
Holgren,
No.
and Overmeyer.
No. Okay.
Thank you.
As long as they're still on that topic, and you mentioned a couple of times about, you want to talk about all the employees instead of just the roads department, I'd like to see us do something with that ARC money that other counties have given, and then Seward County give it to all their employees. They didn't single out employees, and that's what you talked about not doing, is singling out employees. And I'd like to see a bonus, or if you want to call it a bonus or whatever, through this ARP fund for $4,000 per employee of the York County, excluding all elected officials.
Yeah, because law-wise, you cannot
Right.
do that. And I believe that a meeting or two ago, I asked everybody to come up with their
That's what I come up
ideas
with.
on that, and that will be at a future meeting, obviously. Okay. We are going to move on to the next, and I believe that Adam and Bob are here with us this morning, now, I should say.
Morning.
So, to the mic, and we're gonna discuss problem-solving court. If I could have you guys' name and address, and just give us, what position you hold, if you would, please.
You bet. Good morning, my name is Bob Denton. I'm the Deputy Administrator for the Administrative Office of the Courts and Probation. My My address is P.O. Box 98910, Lincoln, Nebraska 68509 in the state capital.
Good morning, I'm Adam Jorgensen. I'm the statewide problem-solving court director with the Administrative Office of Courts and Probation, and my address is 521 South 14th Street, Lincoln, Nebraska, 68502.
Okay, thank you, guys. Just to lead this off, we also have with us in the room Carrie Rodriguez, which is our District 5 probation leader. Is that good enough? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Next.
Administrator.
It's Morgan Campbell.
There we go. Sorry, I absolutely drawn a blank on your name this morning. We do, what brought this up is our agreement that we signed to run the problem-solving court between, it's us and Seward County. That agreement comes to an end in June of this year, and I believe you all was emailed, even though we are not acting on it, you all was emailed the copy of the next, put in your packet, a copy of the next agreement. So go ahead, guys, if you would.
Okay, well, thank you for inviting us here. I did have a chance to discuss this with Chief Rodriguez, and she indicated that the board had some questions about the interlocal, and I am here today to try to answer those questions and explain any questions or concerns you have about the interlocal. I will start off by saying that the interlocal agreement is a collaborative effort between the counties and the state, in the regards that the state will provide all of the salaries, the benefits, travel, training, and transportation for all the staff of a problem-solving court within a county, and then the county is required to provide the office space and operating equipment like desks and chairs and things like that. It is required by a Supreme Court rule 6-1208 that requires all problem-solving courts that operate in Nebraska have to have an interlocal with the collaborating county. There's also a state statute that requires the collaboration between county and state. We again pay all the salaries, benefits of the employees. The county provides office space, operating expenses, just like we do with probation in all of our districts. And then there's a state statute 29-2262.06, which requires that when an individual is placed on a problem-solving court, that the court orders that individual to pay an enrollment fee and a administrative programming fee, a monthly administrative programming fee. Those fees that we collect from individuals, we put back into a pot of money which we use to pay for treatment for the individuals. We pay for their evaluation, we pay for their substance use, we pay for their mental health treatment, we help pay for their transitional living, and all the reporting center services that are offered to them. So that money that we collect from the individuals goes back into helping them with their rehabilitation. So that's what I wanted to start off with, but if there's any other questions or concerns, I'd be happy to try to answer that.
In front of us, like I say, we do have the new agreement, which looks, other than the date, like the old agreement. I
That's
mean,
correct.
it looks like it's word for word.
There's no changes at all.
So when we look at that agreement, that's between us and it obviously adds Seward County along, but the criteria to operate problem-solving or drug court, that criteria is under the Supreme Court. They're the ones that write the criteria of who gets accepted into the program, who has the right to say no to the people and stuff like that. Is that criteria available? Is there hard copy of that criteria?
There is. We actually have it on our website. They are standards. They're best practice standards
Okay.
that when we write best practice standards for a particular problem-solving court, we usually ask that judges and county attorneys and public defenders and treatment providers and other people in the community that work with these type of individuals help write the standards. We use research, we use national best practice standards, and through that process we develop our own local standards. So we did that in 2007 for our adult drug court standards, and those have been in They're currently being reviewed to be updated with national standards, but they are really closely mirrored to the national standards. They're on our website, but I would be more than happy to get a copy of that to you. We also include the national drug court standards on our website as a resource for the community if they want to look at that.
Okay.
But those standards are a requirement for a drug court to be able to operate. They have to follow those standards in order to be in compliance with the Supreme Court. So that is correct.
Okay.
It's a long way of saying yes.
So then also, is there the accomplishments? I mean, is they're showing, say, this many people was in the drug court, this many people succeeded, you know, I mean, is that information on the website
Yes,
also?
we do.
Okay.
We have all that information, how many individuals we serve in our problem-solving courts. We typically serve through a year period over 1,000. We currently have about 660 actively participating across the state. We have 32 different courts. We have adult drug courts. We have a young adult drug court. We have a DUI court, mental health court, reentry court, and a veterans treatment court. And that all have best practice standards that were approved by the Supreme Court to operate. So we are a statewide system, but again, we collaborate with the counties because we need that collaboration. It's so essential for the success of that program. We have local stakeholders that are involved on the drug court. So not only the judges and the probation, but we have county attorneys, public defenders, treatment providers, community people that are interested in helping out. And they volunteer, a lot of those individuals, they volunteer, but there is such a benefit to that, being involved in that program. You see people in your community get better, their families benefit, the community benefits, and it's really a fantastic program.
Does anybody else have questions this morning? Kurt, go ahead.
You said that the court determines the criteria for who can qualify to participate in the, in this. So if someone qualifies, is there still anyone that says, you know what, I'm not gonna allow them to participate in the problem-solving court?
Absolutely. So each local problem-solving court team has the ability to screen an applicant. So when the applicant is referred to be considered, typically what happens is the probation department will do a risk need assessment to determine if that person, first of all, meets their criteria. They have to be a high risk to reoffend individual. That means that an actuarial-based assessment based on research says that if they don't get any type of intervention, they are a high risk to reoffend and come back into the criminal justice system. That's what that high risk indicates. The high need means that they have substance use issues, they have housing issues, they have an array of different needs that we would provide for them within that problem-solving court. So that local team would then, based on that assessment by the probation department, the team would then review that individual to see if they meet the resources within the community. They also want to determine if that person can be safely supervised within the community. So there's a lot of factors that team will look at individually within that jurisdiction. It doesn't say that because this person's eligible, the team has to take them, but the team can determine locally who they take and who they don't.
And I don't need names, but who's on the local team? Are they local probation officers? Are they local law enforcement, or?
Yeah, so I can't, I know that Morgan or Carrie could answer that specifically, but typically it's the judge, it's the county attorney, public defender, or a defense counsel, the problem-solving court coordinator, the officer, then you usually have a local provider. The standards want you to have a law enforcement official on that team because that's a really important part. And so as far as the local team here, not all problem-solving courts have every individual. So again, I can't answer that specific to this court, but that's typically who you have on the team.
And do you know how many people are in the York County or Seward County problem-solving court at this time, or is that something probation staff can answer?
currently have 17 individuals from York County in the program and 2 from Stewart County.
Carrie, can you, off the top of your head, can you name the committee, that makes up?
I think,
Do you want that?
I think if she's gonna be addressing the board, she needs to be
Okay.
here at the table,
That's
so
fine.
people in the
But
world can hear.
why don't you go ahead and come up? That way you can briefly just say who's on that committee. I mean, I know I can peg most of them, but I would also forget one. And you might, Bob, you might push that
Oh, you bet.
over to the center there a little bit. Thank you.
Our judge, the county attorney's office, defense counsel, law enforcement from both the sheriff's department and the police department representatives, treatment providers from both here in York and in Seward, and we have a volunteer mentor who is an individual that was a long-term substance use abuser that has turned his life around and volunteers his time to help spend time with the individuals in the program. And then the probation staff, sorry. Morgan oversees the program as the problem-solving court coordinator. Brandon is here, he's our problem-solving court officer in York and Seward counties that works directly with the individuals. And then I stop into all of our problem-solving courts across the district.
And are we seeing any difficulties operating this problem-solving court in the county, in York County? Is there any pushback? Is everyone on board with it? Are there any obstacles that are in the way of getting these people back to fit and ready for society? Or is that a question you're comfortable answering at this moment? Or is that a comment, or is that something you'd like to answer later off the record?
I think there's several different ways I could answer it depending on specifically which difficulties you'd like to discuss. Obviously, individuals that are at high risk and high need have a lot of difficulties in their lives, and so working to help them overcome those difficulties is always a challenge. But Judge Stecker's program here in York County has had 15 individuals graduate from it since the program began, and only 2 of those individuals have recidivated in the time since the program has started. And generally when people recidivate, it's a lower level offense, so it's usually not a felony drug offense like it was when they come back. When they first came into the program, it's usually some type of lower level misdemeanor offense.
Because the objective of this court is to try to keep people out of the correctional facilities, correct? And had you been here during our claims, discussion of our claims earlier, you know, we've got inmates in other counties, we have medical costs that are going through the roof. So I was just wondering, is it hard to get people through this program, not basically on their end, on the committee side, as far as, is there any roadblocks to getting people to go through this program? Are we getting as many in there as we can to try to alleviate things on the back end?
Our program accepts referrals from anybody that sits on the team or law enforcement, so we will look at any of those individuals. The county attorney's office, I believe per statute, has the final say on if an individual can be accepted into the program or not. So we do, we currently have 6 referrals for York County that are pending possible acceptance into the program.
Very good.
Anybody else have any questions this morning? Like I said, this is not on the agenda, but we will want to, this will be on the agenda in May to go ahead and decide what we want to do in the coming years. Bill, Jack, Daniel?
See, how do I phrase this question that I want to ask? Of the counties, are all participating in some form or fashion, or in the state?
With the problem-solving court?
Yeah.
So we have 12 judicial districts. We have problem-solving courts in each judicial district. We unfortunately don't have a problem-solving court in every county.
Okay.
We would love to be able to do
Sure.
that, but it's we're limited on resources, but we continue to try to expand. There was some legislation this year that if it would have passed, we would have been able to do some more expansion, but that didn't happen. But we do have a lot of support from the state legislature, from the governor's office, from the Supreme Court. They all feel that this is a very worthwhile program that changes lives and improves communities, so.
Thank you.
Kirk, so in our judicial district then, where are these courts taking place then? Or do
So
you
I
just
believe
consider
there
the
are 7 counties within District 5. This is the 5th judicial district, and I'll turn it over to Carrie to tell you which counties.
Right.
So we have 11 counties in the 5th Judicial District. 7 of them currently have problem-solving courts: Merritt, Hamilton, York, Seward, Saunders, Butler, and Colfax. LB 920 held within it the expansion of a problem-solving court into Platte County, which is the largest jurisdiction that does not have a problem-solving court. The stakeholders in Platte County were very excited and were hoping that 920 was going to pass. If 920 would have passed, then the judges' hopes were also to expand into those additional 3 smaller counties, Nance, Boone, and Polk, in our district as a part of the Platte expansion, and then have problem-solving courts in all 11 of the district counties. But as Bob said, LB 920 did not pass, so we'll see in the coming years if that's put back out there.
Good.
Thank you.
I guess I'll end with, I'll give you an opportunity. I believe on the news within the last week or two, either Lancaster County or Lincoln received a national award for their problem-solving or drug court.
Yes.
I don't know, I didn't get to see the whole deal,
Yeah.
but that looked like it was quite an honor that happened. Did you have anything to do with that, or?
Well, I don't want to claim I had a whole lot to do with it.
Okay.
I was at the event, as was Adam. Adam's the statewide coordinator, so I would say he probably had more to do with it.
And that national award was the court itself, or?
Yeah, so the adult drug court in Lancaster County was selected as a national mentor court. So they're using it as an example of what is a good court in the United States. And other states that want to start a new drug court can use their model to help develop their own model.
Okay.
They also the team will go out, support them, help train them, and so on. It was also, the Lancaster County Veterans Treatment Court was also selected as a national mentor too. So, yeah, that was quite an honor.
Good. Well, if we don't have any other thing for the gentleman here and Carrie, we want to thank you for showing up today. Like I say, this will be, I'll let you know, Carrie, when this goes back on. This goes on the agenda, and it'll be one of the 2 meetings in May. Okay?
Please let us know if we can send you any information, the standards.
If it's on your website, and that is,
The
what,
Nebraska Supreme Court website.
Okay.
Yep,
so that we can go get that information.
okay.
Thank you. There she is, yet I see her now. Rochelle. Yes, you're here. Discuss an act on a state grant juvenile diversion with Rochelle Geiger.
It is the same one that I applied for first. They just have special conditions, and generally I sign it and send it in. Because I'm not going to be there, they want my signature as well as the board members. So I will hand this over to you. I have 2 copies because the special, and Kelly, you'll have to sign too, sorry. But it has the special conditions that I comply with, and nothing has changed, so. One of them is typed in, that's the one you need to sign, but here's another one. If
Okay.
anyone wants to look at that, I figured you'd want to keep one just in case.
Yeah, thank you.
Rochelle,
Yeah.
on just as far as this is concerned, was you
Yeah.
able to look back and see, we had
So-
2 come in, was 1 missed?
Right, no, it wasn't missed, and I don't know why they took longer to administer it. I asked, and they said it was probably due to we're switching grant management programs.
Okay.
So they think that they just slowed the process down.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yep. I thought it was me, it wasn't me.
There you go.
In addition, there should be one more grant that I have approval for that I'll need signatures. It'll say basically the exact same thing. So with the grant's approval, I'll just take it to you, Randy, when I get it.
And
get
this
it
should
signed.
come before your,
Yes, I thought I would have it before today. I know that I've been approved, I just haven't gotten that special conditions paper. So,
okay,
and I'm still waiting, for my position to be listed, or advertised for, so that we can, I've already had a lot of applicants send their applications in to the county attorney, but, no action has been taken.
okay. And you are here till the end of the budget year, right?
Correct.
Which is a couple months away.
Although it'll be, yeah, I'll be down a little bit before that because of vacation time, and
Okay,
so I think it ends up being the end of the first week in June.
okay. Well, thank you for what you've done.
Yeah.
And
Thank
so
you.
in the,
Yep,
this will be to sign the grants that are awarded for next year.
correct, the main grant. The
Right.
secondary grant, hopefully I'll get the special conditions sent in. If they'll send them to me in the next couple of days, and I'll bring them to you to sign.
Okay, but that grant will not be, we'll need to approve that signing today also then?
Yes.
Because that,
Yep,
Okay.
that's, yep,
So-
and that one is for $19,000.
okay. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Any questions? I always forget to ask if you guys have questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
You need a motion on that.
So we'll need a motion to sign the state grant awards for York County to run the juvenile diversion, and that would be to sign both grant and second grant.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Bill.
Second.
Thank you, Kurt. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bonsberger,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay. Unless I have missed something. We've got the feasibility, but there's nothing else that I see that we have to deal with. Okay, so, the feasibility study is something that we did participate in financially. MPPD has been the driving mechanism to this feasibility study on broadband throughout not only York County, but Polk County, parts of Butler County, and Fillmore County. And we did get the results. Kurt and I sat in on a meeting. We did get the results of those here a few weeks ago, and they do not want the results public because these will be used for a bidding process. So at this point in time, I would like to go into executive session to discuss that. And when we come back out, all we will have left to do is, I believe, committee reports. So at, what do we got? 10:14. Like a motion to enter executive session.
To enter executive session at 10:14.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, do we,
To discuss contract.
to discuss contract items?
I'll be coming with you.
Second.
Then a second.
I'll do this, but I won't like it.
Okay. If there's no other discussion, roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bonsberger.
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes.